Zach.
Matthew.
What's up, man?
It's that time again.
Episode 18, part 3.
Pedal Pushers, the podcast.
The Pedal Pushers, the podcast. We are attempting to record a new episode of the show for the third time.
Yes.
I think we can nail it.
I hope so, because since last time,
Lots of stuff has happened.
Yeah. And we got new software for recording and streaming.
Yes, very good.
We're now doing weekly gear streams.
Yes, very cool.
And hopefully, with the help of Jeff and a lot of cursing from my office, I think I've figured out how to record, reduce the noise, and make everything just work more better.
That's what we want. Work more better so we can bring you the hot gear takes that you all deserve. Do we say our names? I have it on here.
Well, we started with our names, but
Yeah.
for those that weren't listening, I'm Zach.
And I'm Matthew, and we are Mythos Pedals.
That's right.
And we do the Pedal Pushers podcast that you just clicked on.
That's it.
There we go.
If you're here, hopefully you know.
We're getting better at this. This is great.
So, like and subscribe. I'm looking at our list here.
Should we do it at the beginning and the end?
Yeah.
Do we tell people to like and subscribe?
Yeah, you talk while I open my water.
All right. Well, we've been told several times that we need to say that kind of stuff more, so people will do it. So like and subscribe. And
give us a review on Apple and all those things. All the things
that help us, spread the gospel of pushing pedals.
Yeah.
Now, I do have catch-up BS talk, but I think our whole episode is catch-up BS talk because it's going to center around what just happened over the last 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Which is this guy right here.
In between us, for those watching.
Yeah. So, Zach, you've been texting me late at night constantly about your gear life crisis.
That's right. This is a term that was coined a while back by, I think it was during a live stream on Instagram. I think one of the myth heads said, "You're having a gear life crisis." And I'm like, oh, that's just a perfect name. And we've mentioned it a lot.
Yes.
But it kind of came to a head over the past week.
Yes.
So lay out what we're going to talk about today, man.
Well, what I want to talk about is what is a gear life crisis, how it comes for us all, what it means to attack that gear life crisis, how do you solve it? And our typical sort of solution is either to buy more stuff, I think, is what most people do, is continue to pile on. But what we're going to preach is consolidation.
Yes.
And we're going to explain why we think consolidating is a great way to attack a gear life crisis, to help put focus on everything gear and guitar playing stuff for y'all.
Yes.
And then maybe some reasons why maybe that's not the perfect thing for everybody.
Yeah.
But sort of why we sort of came to that conclusion and how it's making us happy.
Yeah. So for this past week, I finally had some time to myself at the house. My beautiful family was out of town. And when that happens, I do two things. I play guitar.
Yep.
And three things. I play guitar, I play video games, and I do a lot of yard work.
Yes.
Which I didn't tell you how much.
Is that a euphemism for something?
No,
that's what I do when my family's gone.
No, it was literally just
literally yard work. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
I used a pick, and when we had our new porch put in, they just left the pile of dirt in the yard.
Nice.
So I had a mountain of dirt, and so I had to level. Morgan wanted me to level that out.
Okay.
So I was in the yard just
getting sweaty,
heave-hoeing with a pickaxe.
Nice.
So, anywho. But in doing the guitar thing while no one was there, I could actually crank up. I don't know if you're like this, but I know a lot of people that have told me similar stories.
Okay.
They just like to get all their guitars out and play them one at a time just to hang out with them and see oh, man, I remember why I like. And in doing that, I realized I have too much stuff.
Yes.
And the only guitar that really, 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 really speaks to me is my Les Paul. More than anything else. Yes,
because you have been on the record about how much you like all of your guitars.
Yes.
You bought them for a reason.
Yes.
But when we get into this space, what we're really getting at is that there's a stress that comes with, having lots of gear and trying to figure out what to do with all of it.
And maybe this isn't a problem for people, but for me, I feel like
it's got to be a universal problem.
Maybe I feel like having And this is something that I kind of touch on our next YouTube video. This is a Nashville guitar store thing. Having all these things, having all these guitars, I feel like pedals and amps you can kind of get away with, but having a lot of guitars, you can only play one at a time. And I was getting them because I was telling myself I needed to fill in these blanks.
Yes.
And that's not, it never really happened. I was buying guitars because I love guitars and I was excited about them and I like them individually. But when it all came down to actually playing guitar, I really only wanted to play a few. And those are the ones that I told you I felt uninhibited when I started playing my Les Paul. And I was just playing and having fun and I wasn't thinking about anything else. I wasn't thinking about the guitar. So,
I mean, and that is always the goal of a great guitar, is that you just don't think about anything else. And I think the why of all this is something interesting. It's because that's where I got personally. I mean, I never had a lot of guitars, and I got up to like 10. And that's a crazy amount for me.
Yeah.
And, and I kind of found myself in a similar space where I felt a little bit like I started to play the guitars. And when I played them individually, again, they all sound good. They all play good because that's, why I ended up with them. But then you start thinking, well, why do I have this guitar? What does it do? And that's my first real point is our gear goals and our gear journey can change at any time and it's okay to go with it.
Yeah.
Like if you can question yourself sometimes, well, I bought this for a reason. I know it's a good guitar and I'm going to hold on to it, but it's okay if like you bought it and you got it and you had a really interesting or a justifiable reason for getting it, and then it doesn't really work anymore. That's okay to admit, and it's hard to do that sometimes, but that's okay.
And maybe it's not even that it doesn't work anymore. It's just like, I think sometimes we romanticize the idea of getting something so much that you get it and you're high off of that. And then when you come down...
That's a nice high, brother.
When you come down off that purchase high, you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What purpose does this actually serve? And that's kind of where I was at.
And I got there with a couple guitars as well. And I think that's the first step is admitting that you have a problem. No. Right. The first step is saying that where I'm at now with what I want to do guitar wise has changed. And it's okay to admit that and then say, and this kind of also ties into something that you bring up a lot on the show, which is wanting to play everything because you never know which one is going to hit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was something that, and that's gotten me in trouble more often than anything else is I play so much stuff. I'm like, oh, I like this one.
Yes.
But it also, you have to make really informed decisions about all of the gear that you're choosing to chase after. Sorry, I'm going to turn my mic down just a little teeny bit.
Oh, yeah?
Clipping just a teeny bit.
Just a teeny bit. I'm trying to hold my mic down a little bit further.
We get it. It's like a fist away
I'm trying.
That's how I was taught.
No, I've heard that before.
But ultimately, I think what we have to do is define what a gear life crisis is. And for us, it is coming to the realization that the gear itself can make you happy, but what really should make you happy is the act of playing guitar.
Yes, and I think it was Friday. I'd played a decent amount here after work, and then I got home and I played a decent amount. And I was talking to my dad, and I said, "Man, I don't think I've ever played guitar as much as I do right now." And that means I feel like I've gotten to that place with my gear and with my playing it. It's mostly just me playing through my Mesa or my Benson at home with my PRS Special. That's it. That's all I want to play because it sits right with me right now. It's hitting all the boxes. And I feel like that consolidation really helped. Not feeling bad that I have these other guitars that I'm not playing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just felt bad about having so much stuff. Which is, it's funny to like have that feeling. And I think a lot of us go through that, especially with like pedals and stuff. Yeah. We get overwhelmed we get option paralysis. Yeah. And I felt like that with my guitars for a while. And it's just like, I don't know, you just have grand intentions with everything that you buy. But that's been my big focus for the past year really, is trying to like let go and consolidate down my collection into something that's actually usable, which will lead us to what's sitting between us a little bit later.
So what I want to get into is specifically, when you have a gear life crisis and there's ways to attack it, we both decided on consolidation. And I think we've talked about a lot about that stress of having too many guitars you don't play.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've talked about a lot, and that's a good point. But also, it's a cliche to say less is more. But it does, one of the things that was hard for me about having a lot of guitars, and maybe having a lot of guitars that are kind of wildly different tonally, is that the rest of your gear decision making is tough because you're trying to pick out amps and pedals and you've got to compare them to a wide swath of tones.
Yeah.
Versus having something that's a little bit more focused, and then you can filter all your decisions through that. And we were just talking about that this morning when I was talking about for you, are you trying to get all of your guitars to sound similar? Or do you want a wide, I need a Tele and a Strat and a Les Paul, and those are all going to sound pretty different, right?
Yeah.
And I think you've kind of come to a realization about what you're searching for a little bit better.
A little bit, yeah. And it's funny, because of the guitar choice I ended up with over this past weekend, I was watching that pedal show video with Mick.
Yeah.
And he said something, because he went through the painful process of changing the pickups in his 58 reissue 335.
Nice.
And of all the hollow and semi-hollow guitars to mod, those are probably the biggest.
Yeah, you gotta be ready to. You gotta pick out the right set before you get started,
committed.
because holy shit balls.
But he was talking about how when he plugs into an amp, and this is kind of what I was trying to say to you this morning. He doesn't want to touch the amp. He just wants to let the guitar exist into the amplifier and sound the way he wants it to sound. And that's kind of what I want. And it's not so much that I want everything to sound the same. It's just I want it to exist in a sonic space that when I plug in to the amp set the way I like it with my main guitars, it just takes me to a different place, because I feel like the moment you start tweaking the amp to try to get everything more similar, it's kind of counterintuitive. If I got the Swope or the Silver Sky and plugged into the Bloomfield and then immediately cranked all the input gain and shelved a lot of high end to make it sound more like a Les Paul or a humbucker guitar, then what's the point, really?
Yes.
But all that to say, I want it to be
so variations of that character, but yeah.
Because with a humbucker guitar, there's so many subtleties, and even though I have so many,
Yeah.
I'm very critical of how they sound.
You are very critical.
And I listen for things that ultimately don't really matter. But
as long as you know that.
It matters to me. No, I know. I understand the true definition of minutia
Yes.
is minute details that don't matter.
Yeah.
And I'm all about minutia.
Yes, you are.
So-
and as long as that's part of the enjoyment you get out of this, because then that's I know that's part of your journey, you know.
Yeah.
And to speak on that, like I feel like that I've got my California Tweed like set up exactly how I want it, and I got to finally played my special and my McCarty sort of back to back, and it was nice because I think I was playing both of them separately. I'd take the Tweed home, and so I was like kind of trying to figure out like which one do I like better. I was like, oh, do I like its settings? And then once I figured out what settings I liked, I realized that guitars they're subtle, what they do differently, but it's enough to where I really like having both of them because they're going to do different things. And then I plug a Telecaster into that and wildly different sounds.
Oh, yeah.
And I got really like, I don't know if I could ever play a Telecaster now because I would have to change the amp settings. But then I was like, well, wait, let me see, is there something that I want to do on this guitar that these tones can give me that will maybe take me out of my comfort zone and I like? And it's why I've decided to keep the Warmoth. And then I also have my F1.
Right.
And I think that was sort of, this part of this process. But now I think about it with those four guitars, I'm like, that seems like a lot of guitars.
I mean, this all sounds...
It sounds stupid, but now I'm like, I got to make all four of them work with my amp?
Well, I mean, like, it kind of is a first world problem in a way. But also, I mean, I know a lot of people who have very large collections of inexpensive guitars.
Yeah.
And to a lot of that, I feel like you're better served investing your money in one really great guitar that you truly love, in my opinion.
Yes.
And that's kind of how this whole
journey started
because I had I caught wind of Billy Gibbons at Gibson, and
Yes.
that really was what pushed me over, like the tipping point. And I thought, oh God, they're going to make a Pearly Gates replica like they did with Greenie. And we don't know for sure. We have no
We've
facts
tried to
back this
pin
up.
some people down, and we've not got a definitive answer about this. We tried.
They have not confirmed it, but I know they're going to do it. They have to do it because I heard, won't name names, that they did scan it last time it was here because that event, they made a copy for a high-end celebrity of Pearly. He wanted a copy of that guitar, and so Gibson scanned it and made it for him. Who knows how different the process now was compared to 2009. But all that to say is that moment when I heard about that and I saw a photo of Billy at the Gibson garage, and I just put my head in my hands and went, I have to figure out a way to get this.
Yes.
And that was kind of what led me down this spiral of deciding why I have so much stuff and what is it that I truly value as not only a musician but a guitar player. And it's informed a lot of the decisions I've made lately on gear. I mean, granted, we've bought a lot of guitars and stuff for the shop.
Yeah, but
this is not these. As much as these are our guitars and my guitars, they're Mythos guitars.
Yeah, we need stuff so we can test the pedals
and take to trade shows
and test them against different amps and stuff. We justify everything because you've got to see what kind of scenarios everything's going to sound good. You don't want something to just sound good through your Les Paul,
right, and
through the Bloomfield, which is a great tonal starting point.
Right.
If it
sounds bad through that, then
we're bad.
It's going to sound bad through everything.
But we need to know if it sounds good through a Strat style guitar through a deluxe reverb because that's a sound that a lot of people get. So we got all that stuff. But for your own personal journey, the goal, and I think you said this is what we were talking about, and the place that I got last Friday after work, which is the goal of all of this is, dude, how do I get myself to play as much guitar as possible?
Yeah.
That's the goal, right? I mean, obviously there's I want to make records, I want to record, I want to get chicks. There's all the different things we do, but I think that overall, whatever you're trying to accomplish, and that's what we're getting at with the journey that you and I are both on right now, is how do I get rid of all the noise so I'll play as much guitar as possible?
Yeah.
That's what you want. You want to be I want to get those texts from you going, man, I love this guitar, because that means that you're in there digging it and you're playing.
Right. And that light turned off.
Oh.
And there it goes. And I think letting go of stuff, it's so hard because us as guitar players, Joe Bonamassa, he calls his collection a black hole.
Yeah.
Because just like a black hole, things go in and then never come out. But I think a lot of us treat guitar and collecting in however you define collecting, like that. It's mine. And not everyone's like that. I mean, Jeff is a trader. A trader, not a traitor.
Yo, trader! I was he's a trader.
Trader.
Yes.
He's a trader of things.
Like fine spices and animal hides.
That's right. Yes. His animal skin hat he wears to work every Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
No. But that sort of I know a lot of guys exist in that, but there's a lot of people that just you treat gear like a black hole. And I think that is, I think it takes you away from the whole point of having this stuff in the first place. And that's something that I've had to beat into my own head, that it's okay to not have every iteration of I want a gold top Les Paul and a Sunburst Les Paul and a P90 gold top Les Paul and
Black Beauty
and a Black Beauty. Oh, yeah, I want a Les Paul custom. I would love a Les Paul custom. I want a junior and a special. I want all these things, and then every time I've ever gotten close to having all those things, I just want one Les Paul.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
And now I have two, and the only reason I have two is because that second one is so different.
Yes,
aesthetically and sonically.
Sonically, yeah.
But
I think that's where talking about the way you went down. I mean, for me, I was very, very, and we've documented on this show, if you listen to a lot of episodes, anti-selling things. I was I have to be able to save up and buy what I want and not sell stuff because I'll regret it and I'll be upset. And I've completely done a 180 on that. And the reason why I think is because with kiddos and all that stuff, the gear money is very limited, right? Like there's only so much of that that's going to go around. And if you want to buy new stuff, you got to sell stuff. But I do also think that, being a little bit more critical of my playing and thinking about like what tones I'm actually going for and, not just buying kind of not like random stuff, but like a lot of times that's how we do things, right?
Right.
You need to try stuff. You can't go to the store to try everything. We do a lot of our purchasing online now. We get stuff from Sweetwater. You buy off a Reverb. You got to just try stuff, and you got to figure out does this work for me? And and I'll be honest with people. I've alluded to it, but I sold 2 of my Novos. I sold the TCS and I sold the Voltour. Both beautiful guitars. I love them very much, but tonally, they weren't really fitting what I was going for anymore.
And your tastes have changed.
I love the Solus F1. It's probably the best playing guitar that I'll ever touch. And so I'll keep that thing forever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, that's what you always say, right?
But you got to say that, right? But I love that guitar because I love the way it sounds, and I think it really works for what I'm doing. But the other guitars, they just didn't, and they didn't once I played a mahogany humbucker guitar again. Because I hadn't really played my McCarty in a long time. And I kind of broke it back out, and I played some of your PRSs, and I was like, oh, that's actually what I really like.
Right.
Is that tone. And then I played the Voltour and the TCS, and I liked them. They sound terrific, but not exactly, it didn't sound like me as much as those other guitars did.
Yeah.
And so now I've consolidated to the point where I have a little bit more focus on what I'm looking for. And that's a good thing. Sometimes that's what you have to do.
Yeah. And admittedly, you're not a wild tweaker on your stuff. So if you had a guitar you liked, you're not the kind of guy that's
I would sell before I would swap pickups.
Yeah, you'd sell before you
100% sell before I'd swap pickups.
I don't keep I have 2 guitars in my possession that are not modified at all.
Yeah.
The Swope, because I can't. It's everything on it is bespoke for that guitar, pretty much. The pickups, you can't just swap them.
Yeah.
And then the Blueberry.
Yeah.
That's stock.
Yeah.
Even this new guitar, I've already messed with it, and it's been less than a week.
But I wouldn't expect anything less from
right.
But I think that's obviously, there's 2 different ways to go about it. And I think you enjoy that part of the journey.
It's my favorite. It's probably my favorite part.
Yeah, and this is for me. Even buying stuff is like, or getting new guitars is a new thing. I played 2 guitars for 20 years, practically.
Right.
And so like this, thinking about it that way, like, oh, I just need to tweak it. I mean, I swapped the pickups out of my McCarty. Yeah. Because admittedly, the original McCarty pickups are kind of balls.
Yeah, they're okay.
I didn't really like them very much.
Are the new ones the same? Are they like different? Are they 5815s? Or are they
they're 5815 low turns. Yeah.
Even in the standard McCarty
pretty model? Much PRS and almost all their core models now, like non-artist guitars, because the artist guitars have their own pickups. Tremonti pickups, Santana pickups, Grist pickups, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It's either the 5815 regulars, the 5815 LTs, or the 8515s. Okay. And the 8515s in like the custom 24.
Okay, they're the ones with the big plastic, like big bobbin, rectangular bobbin.
Yeah, and then there's the 5815s and then the 5815 LTs. Right. So they use like 3 pickups sets in like everything.
I mean, that's smart.
I think
it's manufacturing stuff.
And I have the 5815 LTs in my special, and I love them.
Yeah,
absolutely love them. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I like them. I just needed more, which is what is going to happen with that guitar. Yeah,
and I feel like, and that's what my Imperials do in the McCarty is the more. So I like having the 2 different styles.
Sure,
that's great.
But getting back to consolidation a little bit, and your last point, this helps you get the guitar you've been dreaming of and obsessing over.
Yeah, let's go over your journey here.
Okay, journey?
Let's talk about how this 335 happened.
Okay.
I think it's an important part of this.
Yeah.
Because, maybe I'll start talking about what I did.
So I, about a year, was it a year ago?
Yeah.
When I went to Kansas for for the first time to hang out with Josh and them.
Yeah.
And then went to Mass Street, which we're going this may be up this week. So if
Yeah,
you're in the Lawrence,
we'll get this up this week.
if you're in the Lawrence, Kansas area on the 21st, I'll be there at Mass Street Music. Come by. But Jeff and I, we had some spare time. He said, "Let's go to Guitar Center." I was like, "Really?"
Yes.
He's like, "Yeah, let's go."
You never have to twist
Let's
my
go.
arm. GC it up.
And then right next door is a Mexican restaurant. I was like, "Cool, yeah, that sounds great." So I know what I'm doing this Friday.
That sounds like the best day ever.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I walked in and there was a 73 Les Paul and a 65 Firebird. What they said was a Firebird 1. Turns out it was a Firebird 5. And got them for, a really good deal.
Yeah.
And so I had those. I, thought I'm going to use this to make money. I'm going to, save these and flip them. And that didn't happen. But I bought those. And then after we moved into this place, I usually get like one nice guitar a year, typically.
Yeah.
Sometimes two. But I wanted a Paul's guitar that you and I found at Groon's.
Beautiful guitar.
Tony the Tiger.
Tony the Tiger. We love Tony.
Love Tony. But I didn't get played hardly at all. It lived in a case, and I would bust it out and play it, every now and again and be like, this guitar is great. And then it'd go right back in the case. And I sold the 73 Les Paul. I traded it for another Gibson Custom.
Yes.
Which subsequently got sold to a very nice gentleman who is from Japan. He was here in the States. He bought it. And it was, he got a great deal. I recouped my money.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Firebird was just hanging out. And I tried to sell it. No one was interested. So
Bupkis.
I said, you know what? I'm sick of these. I want something I truly love. So loaded them in the car.
Yep.
We went to Carter and played some incredible guitars.
You'll see that video too if that's out.
That should be out hopefully by the end of the week. But none of them, save for that Billy Bow,
Billy Bow was cool.
Really spoke to me. But even then, it was kind of like, oh, why? Why do I have this guitar? It's fun. It's a stunt guitar, as you say.
Yes.
Which I love that phrase, a stunt guitar. And I think we need to adopt that.
That is 100% Pops.
I love it.
I stole that from him, but stunt
great.
guitar rules.
Yeah, that's a great name. Thanks, Pops. But went to Guitar Center, and I told Tony at the Nashville Guitar Center Platinum Room, I want a nice Les Paul. So he just unlocked all the ones on the wall.
A nice Les Paul?
Nice 335.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Sorry, I have Les Pauls on my mind.
Really? You do?
No, I'm just Chippy is in the back of my mind. Just
Love
Chippy.
Chippy Sinclair. Chippy.
We played them all, and when I played that one, this 1959 Gibson Custom Shop reissue 335.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is the one.
It sounded great from one note.
I love the way it looked. I love the way it felt. I love the way it sounded in comparison to the rest of them.
Yes.
Because, you're kind of in a vacuum when you're at Guitar Center.
Yes, absolutely. The literal vacuum. That door, that Platinum Room, it needs to seal you from the shred fest going on outside.
Holy shit.
Because we ran into my God, it was Hot Licks. They were filming Hot Licks videos out there.
If you could open a door and walk into Yngwie Malmsteen's head, that was what we were in.
It's the most stereotypical GC showroom that I've ever been to.
I've never experienced it like that.
I have, but I've been to GC Hollywood a bunch.
Right.
GC Hollywood is the shit.
Yeah,
and that's how it always is. That's what that felt like.
Shreddy and sweaty, and lots of sunglasses.
Shreddy and sweaty, and a lot of red eyes. They got to wear those sunglasses.
Just blazed out of their mind.
Blaze of glory.
But anyway,
so that was the best one. We all agreed.
Yeah, and everybody, like you, Jeff, McKinley, were all there. We all played it,
and we all said yes.
And then I just let those two guitars go, and immediately I felt less stressed. And I don't know why I felt so stressed out about having like two more guitars, and turning two guitars into one guitar. It's just one guitar. I'm only giving up one thing, but it made me so much happier the moment I got that home and started playing it.
Yeah.
I felt more comfortable. I felt more like myself. I felt like it had a purpose to exist. Mm-hmm. And admittedly, even though I didn't make money on the deal, I technically lost money, but I got a pretty good deal, and I got some cash in it.
Yeah, man. Straight to the strip club. What else do you use cash for in 2023?
No, like
except
you
the strip club.
deposit it at the bank.
Well, okay, that's one use, but
You use it to, at Taco Bell. Can that thing
Cash?
take cash?
cash at Taco Bell.
Can the big screen take cash? Oh no, the people at the counter can take cash.
There's people that work at the counter at Taco Bell.
There's one.
In every Taco Bell, there's just one. But I hear exactly. I know exactly how you feel, and I think that's. Consolidation in that way is it's just you see the cases where the guitar's hanging around and it's just like you feel guilty, especially at their let's admit at their price.
Right.
It's like they're expensive guitars and you're like, and part of this is sort of like how I can justify it, but it's true, is that the guitar you're lusting after, somebody's lusting after that guitar.
Right. Yeah.
And now they can get it.
Right.
It exists now, and that's what we do for each other. That's what reverb is. That's what all that stuff is. And, I used to be really weird about that stuff. And I would admit it, I worked for a guitar company for 6 years, and every time somebody sold one of our guitars, I would want to kill them. I wanted to choke them out with our bare hands.
You hear that?
Because I took it personally. Because
Right,
I was like, you bought a guitar that we put everything we could into it, and you just sold it. How fucking dare you? Right? And then you realize that, like, it's all part of the tone journey, and people need to find their stuff, and you can't try anything. I mean, we're direct half the time I was there. It's part of finding that space and finding what you love and what you're into, and that's it. And I got to encourage that because I want people to play guitar as much as possible.
And I think that the idea of being okay with losing money on a deal it's okay.
I know that's a weird thing to say after everybody cleaned up the last couple of years with used guitars. Everybody fucking cleaned up, but it's like you got to be okay with that.
You
part.
have to. I just accepted it as that was my
cost of doing business.
That was my rental. That was my my lease for these instruments. Even though that's not the case, but it's so funny because you saying like those guitars are going to be someone's dream guitars.
Yes.
When I was there,
that was so fun.
There was so many people that saw that Firebird that just walked through and they're like, "Oh, whoa, what is that?" And I told Tony, I was like, "This is not going to be here long."
No, it's not.
So.
And that's cool. That's really cool.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
I've been getting all sorts of messages about random things from people.
That's what happens. So we're in a good place.
I think so.
I sold some gear. I got my California tweed. I got something else coming. Still don't want to talk about it. I want it to be a big reveal. It's going to be a big reveal.
Should we make a video of you getting this guitar?
Maybe. It's a pretty big deal.
It's a pretty big deal.
It is a pretty big deal.
It's the most expensive guitar any of us have ever bought.
That is 100% true.
No. Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it probably is.
Yeah. It is. Ooh. Jeez. Okay.
You, mister.
Well, people will know now.
Somebody.
Well, people will know now. All right. So obviously, we're not speaking for everybody.
You just know he's a fish fan, right? So it's one of those.
Oh my God.
Languedocs.
Fish. Can I have my Fanta? Zero sugar now.
Is it Fanta or Fanta?
It's Fanta. Don't you wanta? That was the commercial. Not Fanta. Don't you wanta?
Fanta, don't you wanna?
Hello, Fanta. Don't you wanta? Fanta.
I've never once in my life thought of it as
it's like
Fanta.
I like it thinking it's like a sophisticated European beverage. I'm gonna try to drink it out of this.
My favorite thing about this this mystery Halloween flavor is that it's
really gross.
It's like
it's so gross.
Black.
It's gross.
It looks like they just put charcoal.
This is a koozie from my wedding. Can you see that? How do I do that? How do I make people see this?
You gotta cover
Hide your face. There.
face.
It says, can I cover up my face? It says, have a good time all the time. There, you can see it a little bit there. Quote from Spinal Tap.
There you go.
Koozie from my wedding. All right.
Anyway.
So I don't ever
He's
want
not getting a Languedoc, by the way.
maybe people can guess in the comments. There's some people that will know. They're eagle-eyed people that pay attention to my Instagram account and some of the things that I've liked.
If I say anything as a joke, I will laugh, but ultimately we'd probably offend somebody. Like, hey, that's my favorite. And I don't want to be.
Oh, if you say like Matthew's getting a.
Yeah.
I hear you. All right.
And if you have a Languedoc, good for you. They're cool instruments.
They look super rad. Obviously, we're not speaking for everyone. Mm-hmm. There's people out there, which more is more, and they need all these great
More is
guitars.
more, yeah.
And that's
if
how
less is more, imagine how much more can be.
how much more can be. I mean, if you are a gigging musician who plays a wide variety of styles, you probably still don't need that many
No,
guitars.
you don't. You need,
I'm trying here.
you
I'm
need a
trying
humbucker
here.
guitar,
I'm trying to do something.
and you need like a Telecaster or a Stratocaster. Yeah, you're done.
What if you had unlimited resources and you know, you're a big star and people can move all your shit for you?
Okay, yeah, that's the thing. If someone carries your stuff,
Yeah,
if you don't have to schlep anything yourself, sure, go ham. If you can afford that, you can afford whatever you want.
and you're still probably only playing one guitar at the crib, right? Only playing one. If you own a studio, kind of the same reason we have a lot of guitars here.
Yeah.
Is that we have a lot of different things that we need to accomplish. So we've got basses and we've got strats and tellies and all that stuff. So if you have a studio, you want to have lots of stuff like that.
Yeah,
That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
That makes sense. And I think,
Yeah.
well, yeah, go ahead.
And if no, go ahead. Well,
No.
you want to say something about
No,
that?
it's like I think even then there's limits. I think there's
So are we preaching that this is the right thing to do for everyone?
not necessarily.
Yes,
but I think
we are right, and you must do this.
I do think that people tend to get a little in their head about what they truly need, and even in a studio situations, like I don't know, like how many articles have you seen in your life where someone said, "Yeah, I just recorded this with this piece of crap guitar that was sitting in the corner because it suited the song the best." It's like we
romanticize that a little
We
bit.
definitely do. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I want to have
You need to have
a
everything ready.
rosewood neck strat and a maple strat and every year
Yeah.
I need a flat pole telly, and then it's like no, probably not, but like I get it because it's fun.
Yeah, it's fun, but what we
But
are
that's a
really
different headspace.
But we are really talking about people. Like, I'm not going to give advice to somebody that's actually happy playing their gear and doing what they're doing. I'm talking to the miserable fucks.
You're talking
out
to
there.
guys like, and it's not even that it's miserable. It's just like it stressed me out having
Yeah.
so much stuff
Yeah.
that I couldn't justify owning it, other than the fact I wanted it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's enough.
And I've seen this quote from our friend William, who says that this industry doesn't run on needs; it runs on wants.
No, it's true.
And that's so, obviously you should never sell any of your pedals, and you should buy as many Mythos pedals as possible.
Or sell all your old pedals and buy all new Mythos.
Yes, every time, we need to start doing some planned obsolescence. That's what we need to do. No, I'm kidding.
Caps pop. Why is there a light bulb inside this?
But
it makes it work.
everybody's journey is different, and if you're really happy and you got 50 guitars at your house, then man,
What's your string budget? Right?
Hey, you can't play all of those enough to where you change those strings, but there's got to be. In the comments, who has a lot of guitars? What do you think is a lot of guitars?
Oh man, that's a good question.
10 plus?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if you had 9, that's okay. So how many guitars do you have now? Personal, non-Mythos guitars.
Non-Mythos guitars,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
They live at home, sort of thing. Is that
Yeah,
is that the
They live
prerequisite?
at home.
Live at home. I have 2 Les Pauls.
Mm-hmm.
Have a Flying V. I have a vintage acoustic.
Uh-huh.
And I have the 335,
594.
the 594,
Yeah.
and the Kirk Hammett.
Yeah.
So I have 7.
So I have 3 guitars at home. I have my Special, I have my F1, and I have my Taylor 327E.
But I would also say that the McCarty is.
Yeah, I keep it here because
Oh, my Swope.
Yeah.
I would consider the Swope. It's just
and
here.
I keep the McCarty here because I want to have a nice guitar at the shop that I can play.
Yeah.
And I don't
A nice Matthew guitar.
And I think that it would be like choosing between the Special and the McCarty at home is like inconsequential. So that's why I don't need to have both of them at my house. So
Yeah, but what is too many? That's a good question. Because
great question.
So I have 7 or 8.
So I count 4 with the
I mean, I don't know. That's enough. That's enough.
Yeah.
I think because
4,
I'm not done selling stuff either. I'm going to sell some more things. So
Yeah, well, I decided not to sell the Warmoth, like I said, because I want to explore having a tone that's drastically different.
yeah,
Because I think that my F1 has like it's a high output telly bridge, so it has a little giddy up on it, so it sits fine with the humbucker guitars.
man. Speaking of a high output telly bridge,
Yeah, you shared that picture today.
ooh, I haven't even looked at the.
Oh my
comments.
gosh, my pants is ringing.
my
Somebody's
foot's
calling me.
Is it probably insurance?
Probably insurance or my wife. The only person that calls me
Is it gonna rain?
is my wife. Oh my gosh. She don't watch this, so she won't get that joke. It's probably my dad. And he's either saying hi or your entire family is dead. One of those two things.
No.
That's the only reason dads
Jeez.
call, right? It's either, you know,
Yeah, I mean, parents do that. Hey, I need to talk. Like, do you remember what batteries go in the TV remote? It's like, oh my
or
God.
grandma died. It's
or
one of
that.
those two things. Oh my gosh. Let me see here.
Well,
Did we talk about everything? Are we good?
I think, I mean, that we're 40-ish minutes
See,
in.
it was my wife. I told you.
Yeah. It's going to rain.
It's going to rain.
No, it's the rain joke is just funny because everybody's spouse, save
Yes.
for mine.
Yeah.
And this was true of like Jeff, McKinley,
Yeah. Freaks
when,
out
when
over
it,
any
when it would
weather
start to
habit.
rain,
Yes.
like, hey, it's
yes.
going to rain. Are you going to leave work early? It's like, what? And I'm like, what?
They're just wives worried about the weather turning and it's difficult to get home. I mean, it's stormy out there.
I know. I just don't worry about those sort of things.
I know. You live 10 minutes away. Yeah. 15 minutes.
It takes
how long is it?
17 to 20 minutes to get home.
So I get home first.
Probably.
It's like 15 for me.
Yeah.
No
Look at
traffic, baby.
Look at you. Well,
She
you're
goes,
going on the highway, on
right.
the interstate, so you're
So
going faster.
I think we're good. We wrapped up this topic.
So yeah, sell some stuff if you want to sell stuff. If you're really stressed out about it, don't be afraid to take a
Sell
loss.
everything except your best guitar and just play that.
Yeah, and consolidate it
Have fun.
into what you truly
Sell
want.
all your guitars and use that money to buy Mythos pedals.
There
Let's
you
go. All right, we go to what are you buying and what are you selling, but that's the entire point of our episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell the Blue Strat. So anyone out there, sell that. I'll probably I'll pull the Mythos pickups and put them in Silver Sky over
Blue
here.
Strat.
But the Blue Strat gotta go. I think.
Strat. Okay.
And yeah, I guess that's it. There's nothing I really want to buy except maybe some new pickups for Blondie over here.
You're gonna and you don't want to have to replace them again, so this is a one-shot deal.
Yeah. Well,
Got Luke Skywalker and doing his trench run here. You gonna take the targeting system off?
I might do a
Pained metaphor right there. Sorry, everybody.
It took forever. I might put a little quick connect thing in there and just say, you know what? I'll just wrap the pickup lead underneath the pickup and put it in the cavity and just go. And the stock custom buckers, I'll just throw them in a case, and one day I'll replace the pickup leads on those because I know how to do it. I can pull it out and
There
put
you
the
go.
new pickup lead and rewrap the tape. Yeah. Although Gibson,
Free advice.
when you're putting on your pickup covers, stop kinking them. I changed the magnet in that to make it out of phase, and
That sounds cool.
it does sound cool.
I like it.
And hopefully bring some more mid range back, and it just didn't do it, which is funny because I've done this before, and I thought, oh, was that okay? And I remember after I did it, I was like, oh no, it was like the same. But all that to say, I do want to find some new pickups for that because I just don't like. The only Gibson pickups that I really like are the Greenie custom buckers.
There you go.
So, but
Okay.
what are we pushing?
Well, we should try to sell something. Mythos,
should.
Right? What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling that 210 double drop deluxe.
Me too, but I'm always feeling that bad boy.
I know, but you know, I played it this weekend through the deluxe reverb. Poor Frazier had to sit there and
He loves it.
like
He
he
loves
won't
it.
leave the room. He'll just be like,
Gracie does the same thing.
suffer with the
Gracie does
volume.
the same thing.
but man, that thing sounds good. And
I
we
was-
we have a few more made on the shelf. We can make one more batch, and then
And that's it, baby.
that's it. I'm never doing them again. And they're through hole fancy. We're selling them for $159 for a 2-in-1 through hole high end.
It's,
I would argue that is a boutique Mythos pedal.
That
If
is
there
a
if there would whatever
Yeah.
any
But
of them would be considered boutique. That's the one.
You know, as versatile as a two knob pedal can be.
Pretty much.
It does it all. I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, get you a 210.
Get you 210.
There'll be a link in the video here, and you can just go right to mythospedals.com. And
So
go right to it.
share your guitar console. Sorry, this Fanta is hitting hard.
Oh man, you feeling
Yeah,
some
I
kind of
am.
way?
Just share your gear guitar journeys in the comments. I want to hear.
Yeah.
Just sell a lot of stuff to buy a few guitars. Has anybody blown out multiple guitars to buy one guitar? I want to hear some stories.
Yeah. So let's do it.
Yes.
So like, subscribe, follow Instagram.
Yeah.
Matthew handles that.
I don't know what people want to see me post on there.
I don't know.
That would be
probably
nice
just
too.
like
People tell me what to
just
post
photos of like this.
of us going. The next one I'm going to post is just going to be that.
There you go.
There you go.
Thanks everybody.
All right. See you next time.